So, city of Chicago, yeah, we're a sanctuary city. Bring us your poor, bring us your whatever. Now, bring us all your millions of people coming across the southern border because it's wide open. Come stay in our city. Bring them on. Bring them on. Bring them here, right? Until winter time comes. And then got a budget constraint. What are we going to do? Oh, we're going to whip together 3 massive encampments for the illegal immigrants. Yeah, that's what Chicago's trying to do. They've got one here that's going a little sideways on them. And the mayor, it appears, has been involved in shenanigans. Hasn't exactly dealt with the EPA concerns. Tried to skirt around the fact that he's putting up one of these massive tents on a wildly contaminated site. Yeah, he really cares about his people. It's sanctuary city, of course. Hey, come on to our city. We'll give you a special spot. And by special, I mean it is alive with radioactive whatever. Let's get into it. We're going to watch a video here quickly. Does that even make sense? I don't know. Let's get into it. Here we go. This is from Ford Boss Me, YouTuber.
Breaking news. The governor, not really the governor likes to take credit for stuff when he shouldn't take credit for anything because he ain't no damn good. But the EPA in Illinois shut down the migrant camp facility here on 38th in California. They went and they tested the soil and stuff. Mind you, the mayor, in his infinite wisdom, which there's not very much there at all.
Let's go, Brandon Johnson.
Before he became a mayor, he was against police and everything else.
Yeah.
He was standing in buildings of like
justice reform
stuff or whatever in public buildings, and he would block entranceways and stuff like that, protesting with other people. And we voted this guy in as mayor.
Yes, you did.
Anyway, he's so anti-police, and he's such a socialist in general.
Agreed.
This guy he doesn't know how to talk. He doesn't know how to do business and stuff like that. But anyway, he tells them to go ahead and start building on this property. The alderman knows what's going on here, Miss Julia and Mayor Johnson. She goes off on vacation. They start building on this property, digging up the ground, putting sewers and stuff in it, everything else. These guys are playing in the dirt, city workers and stuff. They don't know what they're in. They're in mercury. They're in like substance abuse stuff, like, I don't know, opiates or some other kinds of drugs or something like that in the ground. And they're digging in it, putting sewers and stuff in. And she comes back from vacation and is like, oh, I didn't know what was going on. Yeah, you did. You know what was going on. The mayor's not just going to start building in your neighborhood without you knowing what's going on. You know what was going on. Then come to find out, they're like, hey, this has been industrial.
Are you shocked to know that they've got a parcel of land that's not buildable, that's had a bad EPA, probably a phase 1 done on it before, and it's not going anywhere? Hey, hopefully nobody will check on the fact that we're building on that site. You know that site? You know, the one that's got a little bit of radioactivity to it? I mean, yeah. Is this shocking? No, this is not. It's like, yeah, you can't build there. That's a no-go.
Industrial land for years and years and years. What are you guys doing? Nobody came in here to land study this. Nobody surveyed it. Nobody tested the soil to see if it's safe for people to live on and stuff like that. And you're going to let thousands of people live on top of this land? We can smell oil and grease and everything else that's in the soil from all the different. Schneider Trucking Company was there at one point.
As you do at an industrial site.
Like a coal yard or something back in the day, some other kind of chemical thing. And you're just going to throw some crushed whitish tan gravel down on top of it and call it a sealer cap and let people live on top of it? No.
Yeah. I think that's what we're doing.
Came in and they started, high levels of mercury,
classic
substance, like some kind of drugs or something on the property that was in certain areas they found in the soil. They dug it up, disposed of it in a dump site, said they had it all, tested again. They actually found more stuff. Then it went off the last couple days for review before they continued. Mind you, they're paying this firm.
Okay, we're gonna skip over to the that was the guts of what you've got going on here. There's a reason we have the Environmental Protection Agency. Yeah. When it comes to vacant land, oftentimes they'll have you do a little study on it. And you got to get past these phase investigations on this type of dirt, because if you don't, the thing's hosed. This site was hosed. It's always been hosed in recent years but they're trying to pull a fast one is essentially what happened and got caught. It's like, oh, you're going to put the illegal immigrants there? Interesting. You're just going to put some crushed rock over the top, call it good. Yep, looks good. Should be fine. Should be fine. I mean, it's kind of like the Department of Health here in Seattle saying, you know what? Secondhand fentanyl smoke on the bus, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, it's, we don't have a lot of studies saying it's terrible. But yeah, I mean, and I'm sure this hazardous waste site is, it's going to be just fine for, illegal immigrants with babies and, pregnant women and people with health conditions. I'm sure they'll be this is a terrible idea, right? Terrible idea. But it kind of goes to show, hey, we're going to cut this big corner. We're just going to make this happen. So Governor JB Pritzker won't proceed with Brighton Park migrant camp, citing serious environmental, here's my magic new word, concerns. Everything's a concern. We've got a concern over this, Sean. This is concerning. Well, everybody else is having a damn heart attack over whatever the issue is, and you're concerned. How you downplay things. Yeah, we are concerned that this didn't pass an environmental inspection. And we're concerned that the, toxic levels in this site are not conducive for human beings to live on. It's a little bit of a concern for us. Concern. It's like, no, you should be wigged out of your mind. You're going to put what where? No, you can't do that. That's a no-go. What were you even thinking? There's no concern. It's just, you guys are trying to pull a fast one. Here's, for those of you on the audio portion, they're building these three massive encampments that they're building in Chicago because winter is coming. No, you know what, Sherlock? It's been coming. The seasons are always a thing. And did nobody in these sanctuary cities ever think about, you know what? Springtime is going to lead to summertime, is going to lead to fall, and then winter is coming. Oh, what are we going to do there? And Chicago winter's not all that great. Seattle weather right now, it's terrible. We got so much rain. My basement flooded again, but I'm getting close. I am getting close to fixing my water fenestration or whatever that word is problem. I've got a 6-foot hole dug out around my foundation. I'm in that hole. I'm digging out. I've got a spot about this wide where the water's coming in. I'm going to tear off some baseboard. I pulled up the carpet this morning. Yeah, that was my morning this morning. But I did about 3 hours worth of work on it. I'm so close to knowing exactly where that water's coming in. And then I'm going to patch up whatever the hole is. I just haven't found it yet. And we just had the rain here is the point to my story. We had massive amounts of rain here in Seattle. And so the water table is rising, and that's how I know. All right, yeah, it's going through a hole right about in there, and it's coming into my house down in the lower level. Great, sweet. I got 2 sump pumps going. It's a lot of fun. A couple of big, massive fans, dehumidifier. This house has had a water problem since it was built, and so I'm going to fix it, though. I'm going to fix it. All right, so this building that they're building in Chicago, somebody said it had 30-foot high ceilings. It's got to be pretty big to, encompass 1,000 people. But man, it is a massive structure. Looks like a big pole building, but I know it's going to be tent. Here's something funny. Toxic Camp Johnson. Somebody put that up on the outside of this building being made. Got zinc is another one of the signs posted on this deal. Governor JB Pritzker's administration moved to officially scrap Let's Go Brandon Mayor Brandon Johnson's plan to build a migrant camp on a controversial southwest side lot. Oh, that's controversial because it's toxic, folks. It's toxic. The state announced Tuesday morning while issuing a scathing rebuke of the city's evaluation of the land's potential environmental hazards. Yeah. Is this shocking? The Let's Go Brandon tried to pull a fast one? Not at all. This is just typical. They don't really care about the people. They just want to get done what they feel they need to get done so that they look okay. In a statement, Pritzker's office said an Illinois Environmental Protection Agency and EPA review of the city's environmental report, which was released late Friday evening, indicates concerns, there it is, related to the insufficient soil sampling and remediation. All right, not enough soil samples and remediation, meaning they need to fix it. So they know this is bad. This is a bad site. This site needs cleaning up. So in real estate, one of the kisses of death is where you've got a gas station that just will not pass an EPA phase 1. You know what I mean? It's like you got to do so much work to the dirt, haul that dirt out. You got to all of this stuff that's very expensive. These folks knew this site was bad. It's contaminated. You need to clean it up before you do anything with it. Now we're just going to crush up some rocks and call it good. It'll be fine. It'll be okay. You know, these people have had a long journey. They're used to adverse conditions. You know, got zinc. And because the time required for additional testing and remediation would be extensive because the problem's bad and they make you jump through a lot of hoops in order to make it good, takes a long time. Yeah. Additional testing and remediation would be extensive. The state will not proceed with the base camp, Pritzker said. He's basically just covering for his boy who just made a massive mistake. Oh, yeah, let's put a camp there. It'll be fine. And it's not. Somebody who's like, yeah. Even our guy here, the Ford Boss guy, the YouTuber, and he was aware of what the previous businesses had been. It sounds like they were, you know, gas station, machine shop, some type of mechanics-based business had been there. And if you have businesses there for, 100 years, whatever, back in the day, you didn't exactly recycle motor oil, right? You took it out back and it disappeared. You dumped it in a hole, right? You got that Aaron Brockovich. And because the time required, okay, we talked about that. My administration is committed to keeping asylum seekers safe as we work to help them achieve independence, Pritzker said in a statement. We will not proceed with housing families on a site where serious environmental concerns are still present. My administration remains committed to a data-driven plan. I love the data-driven plan, those comments. Well, it's based on the data. It's like, is it really? Because it doesn't look that way to me. So, my administration remains committed to a data-driven plan, whatever that is, to improve the asylum seeker response. So data-driven, being that this is the first major winter we've had when you've had literally thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people cross the southern border into the United States and then get shipped by a bus from a Republican governor or train or whatever into your community. So your data-driven plan? Let's see what are you talking about? You need to come up really quickly with 3 massive campsites. And you're doing that, but you took a shortcut. And here we are. Some jackass out of Seattle is recording a podcast on it, right? To improve the asylum seeker response, and we will continue to coordinate with the city of Chicago as we work to expand available shelter through winter. It's going to be a tricky winter, especially if you got a little wrench in the program like this, which is, that third tent, that's not going up. How come? Well, because you were going to put it on a very toxic site that human beings, the whole reason we have this EPA thing, I know it's a hindrance in, running your blue city, but this EPA thing, you're a no-go. You need to come up with another site. So they're just going to have to scramble and come up with another site because nobody wants a migrant, tent camp on their property. Mayor spokesman Ronnie Reese did not immediately respond to a request for comment. At an unrelated public appearance, Johnson deflected questions on the state decision and instead listed statistics on how many migrants have been cleared from police districts. Oh, man. How about the airport? What a bunch of jokers. Yeah, just bring all your folks in. It'll be fine. We'll figure out a place. We'll figure something out. And then winter comes. Oops, yeah. Hope nobody freezes to death out there. It's cold in Chicago winter, right? The mission is still very much alive, the mayor said Tuesday. And, going back to our YouTube guy, he's like, hey, this is who we voted in. And that's what I always come up with, is that you voted in, let's go Brandon Johnson. I mean, that was your choice. And then you're surprised when this kind of stuff comes up. I'm not. This is just par for the course, right? This guy's not running on a full deck of cards. He's just doing whatever he wants. And he's into justice reform, defund the police, all this other stuff in a city where you've got probably 600 murders about now, something like that. I mean, your public safety is non-existent in many parts of Chicago. Meanwhile, you got this joker, let's throw up the tent on the toxic site. It'll be fine. To get people out of police stations, women and children sleeping on floors, those who are sleeping outside, to remove people from police districts. We've been doing that work. Well, if you had a plan for how many folks you were going to, take on, and you had a budget and you went down a reasonable kind of pathway for what you're doing, instead of just, willy-nilly, we're a sanctuary city. We're just bring them all to us. Those ridiculous Republicans, they have their budgets and they won't bust them for all these people, even though many of those cities have just been overrun with folks coming across the southern border illegally. Now, these sanctuary cities, Seattle's dealing, I shouldn't say Seattle, but a suburban community. There's one church that's just taking as many as they can. And you know who I'm talking about if you've been following this story. I need to do a podcast on it, but I've just been watching it, from a little bit of a distance. You got a pastor there who is, I'm not sure what's going on, but let's just say there are some shenanigans. It outwardly appears to be shenanigans. This is one of those shenanigans here in Chicago that is just that. You've got some real tomfoolery going on. Yeah, EPA, we don't need EPA. Just throw the tent on there. It'll be fine. Yeah, actually, the governor says that's a hard no. We gotta cut this site. We gotta move on to another site because that little EPA thing, they said that something about, years and years and years of dumping out back makes it no good. I don't know. We're not experts in EPA stuff. We're just trying to build a tent for the people. Pritzker's move was a stunning rejection of Johnson's plan, which was already proceeding. It will force the mayor to react to the state stepping on his response to a crisis within Chicago's borders, a reversal of the usual political power dynamic that comes after weeks of brewing disharmony between the two. You've got a rogue mayor. That's what Chicago's got. You got a rogue mayor. The guy is good for nothing. He's good for nothing. He talks about what he's good for. Are those really the highest criteria of things you should be concerned about in Chicago? Yeah. How about just the level of gang violence you got going on there? How about the level of people being shot by one another? How about that? Yeah. What about that? Oh, yeah. Instead, we're just going to throw a tent on and bring all these people across the southern border and get them shipped up. It's all going to be fine. It also places the Democrat governor, widely rumored to have future presidential ambitions, firmly in charge of a out of control situation that has proven Johnson's most vexing challenge since he took office in May. Let's go Brandon Johnson has not risen to any challenges as mayor. Instead, he has just let the city just kind of regress. But you know what? We shouldn't be shocked at this at all. Because this is what the people of Chicago voted in. This is what they wanted. This is what you guys wanted. And this is what you get. You get a jerk ball who doesn't even have the respect to not put people that have traveled thousands of miles to get to your country because somebody said, it's all fine. Southern border's wide open. And then when you bring them on, you're going to put them in a place that puts their lives in danger. Yeah, not shocking, is it? The mayor's plan to place asylum seekers in heated winter tents was one of several flashpoints in his Pritzker's differences in migrants. Though Johnson, so Chicago weather, right? I talked about Seattle weather with just buckets of rain. Things are a little chill here in Chicago. How's the whole massive tent thing going to work in Chicago in the middle of winter? You got piles of snow coming up. How's that going to work? I don't know. We're just going to have to see, right? Although Johnson and surrogates have for a while critiqued the state for what they said was inefficient aid, insufficient aid, the governor has made a point to cast his recent involvement as one of Springfield swooping in because Chicago leaders were failing to get asylum seekers out of police station floors and sidewalks in time for the cold. Well, that is what is happening. You can't stack up people in police stations. You can't stack up people at the airport. What are you even doing? And then you try and pull this fast one. Now the search for a sounder campsite, because we've got concerns with that other campsite to house migrants, continues amid freezing temperatures at night and no immediate backup plan. There's never been a primary plan. It's just wing it and we'll see what happens. Yeah. In a city that has had how many murders? How many people have been shot and wounded? We could go look at heyjackass.com and find that out in a split second. But it's hundreds and thousands of people. So what do we do? What does Let's Go Brandon Johnson do? Yeah, he's a justice reform guy. Yeah, defund the police. How's that working out? Oh, yeah, he's, let's get rid of the judicial system. We don't need it. We'll start over from scratch. We've got a good solid foundation here in Chicago. Meanwhile, almost 600 people have been murdered and 2,500 have been shot and wounded this year. We're not even done with the year yet, right? Hey, Seattle's got a shot at really setting that bar high for murders this year. Homicide. We're going to do it. It's going to be way over 70. Yeah. Seattle doing some work. How Johnson's team navigates the next weeks will be a pivotal moment for the new administration that had vowed to be transparent and champion environmental justice, but has drawn sharp ire over the handling of the Brighton Park plan. Champion environmental justice. Yeah. I would say that's contradictory to what they're doing here with this big tent, right? Yeah. In reality, you could probably put this tent down. It'd be fine. Yeah, right? I mean, come on, let's be honest. Did people really have all these issues? Some of them did. I mean, when you got leaching of, toxic chemicals, but who knows what this one has? I mean, it sounds to me like it was some kind of previous machine shop. It's got that kind of stuff. Is that really going to give you cancer? I don't know. But you know what I mean? That's the kind of doubt that I have. All right, was it really that bad? Or did it just have some toxicity and it just wasn't good? Last Friday, the city released a nearly 800-page report by outside contractor Terracon Consultants that said high levels of mercury. Well, that would make one wonder, wouldn't it? High levels of mercury. Okay. How high were they? And other chemicals were found and being removed from the Brighton Park lot. All right, so they're doing a little cleanup. Hey, thanks for bringing that to our attention. Let's go clean that up. With the limited soil removal and placement and maintenance of the barrier, the site is safe for temporary residential use, the mayor's office had said. See? Don't you believe him? I mean, Let's Go Brandon Johnson said this. So, I mean, it's got to be true, right? Because all of a sudden he is an environmental specialist and he understands how much gravel you have to put over the top of the levels of mercury emitting into the environment. He knows because he's making it happen. And maintenance of the barrier. Yeah, just put a whole bunch of stuff on there. Should be fine. It'll be okay. The state had reservations because of concerns, however, and paused construction on the site Sunday after Pritzker's office expressed frustration at their own wait for the report's release, even as the state was supposed to cover the cost of setting up and operating the tent encampment. Yeah, I got that little hiccup, that little EPA hiccup. The base camp in question would have held about 2,000 asylum seekers and was slated to open its doors later this month to become the city's first government-run camp for new arrivals as they wait for beds inside brick-and-mortar shelters. Pritzker on Tuesday said an upcoming 200-bed brick-and-mortar shelter at the former CVS at Little Village will be next instead, along with possible options within the Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Chicago network. Just shenanigans left and right. Hey, wait a minute. We ran through all of our budget. What are we going to do with these people? Oh, let's give them tents. We're going to give them gigantic big tents. Where are we going to put those tents? Just any site will do. Just throw one out there. Hey, we got one that's a little bit toxic. It's fine. Put some crushed rock over it. It'll be good. Nobody will say anything. How did this come up? I still haven't figured out how this came up. Hey, you know what? Maybe, just maybe, there are some legit concerns to this site. Yeah, that mercury thing, people might get sick. I don't know. Don't know. I haven't really read that. And I read a couple articles on this. It's just the governor basically just put his foot down and said, no, not happening. I'm skimming as we read here. Long article. So I'm hoping the state takes the same interest in making sure all Illinoisans are safe, Mosley told the Tribune. Not just the illegal immigrants coming across the southern border, but all people from Illinois. Yeah, nobody wants to get sick from an environmentally just terrible site. This is par for the course for a Democrat-run blue city that can't seem to get out of its own way. You know what I mean? It's just so bad. It's so poorly run. And yet this is what the residents of Chicago voted for. This is, they voted in. They had the option to go with somebody more moderate. You know what they said? Let's go Brandon Johnson. He's a champion of the environmental concerns. He's a champion. He's going to champion the cause. He's our guy. He wants to work on justice reform too. Don't put anybody in jail. Don't arrest anybody. Defund the police. Get rid of the criminal system. It's bad. It's bad. Got to get rid of it. Yeah. And here he is throwing up a tent on what is clearly a very toxic site. Mercury? Why don't you go take a nap there? It'll be fine. It'll be good. It's all good. Just put your sleeping bag down. You don't need them. You don't need any kind of sleeping pad or anything like the tent. No, you just bunk right on down. The mayor says it's fine. I would have concerns with anything that the mayor of Chicago says. I just would. Yeah. All right. If there are more, I think this story is about over. But if somebody sees something, send it to me on the environmental issues, because that's the stuff to me that I'm like, what happened here? How did this get to this point where they thought they were going to be able to pull this fast one? I would love to know that story. If you see it, let me know. Thanks again for being here. I'll catch up with you in the next one. Bye for now.